welcome to the Cavalier Corner, a show in which we'll be discussing all kinds of fun topics related to student life. My name is Juliana.
And I'm Camille, and today we have a special guest with us.
Yes.
I love guests. I love you, Juliana, but I also like having other people on.
Oh, of course, yes.
All right, so would you be able to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, well, hello all. My name is Steve Franklin. I'm the coordinator of the Student Basic Needs Center on campus.
Yes.
If you guys have not checked out the Student Basic Needs Center, you must. If you're on campus, even to just look around, it is amazing there. Well organized, well put together. Let me just say that. All right. So before we get started, Steve, I've started this thing of having icebreakers in the beginning. So my first question to you is, describe yourself using two fruits and tell me why you use those two fruits.
Well, I thought a lot about your question, and while I couldn't think of two fruits to describe myself, I did think of two fruits that are meaningful to me. So
Okay.
let's maybe put a slight twist on your question. I'll answer it that way. So the first would be a peach. Uh, I do like peaches. They probably rank among my favorite fruits, but the reason why a peach is meaningful is that it takes me back to childhood. I grew up in Wichita, and I remember as a child going to peach orchards and riding the trucks around to the peach trees and picking peaches. And it was a good family bonding experience. I don't know if they allow you to ride in the trucks these days, especially they have insurance issues involving it. But that was something that when I thought about your question and fruit, that was the first image that came to my mind. The second fruit would be an apple. And the reason for that is I spent a few years of my life living in Japan. I was an English teacher. And one of the main um, surprises you find when you move to Japan is the cost of certain items. And so Fuji apples were one of the first things I noticed there because they're giant apples and they're packaged beautifully, but they're like $5 each. So things like fruit, newspapers were just so much more expensive in Japan than I would have ever imagined. So yeah, those are the two fruits that stick out in my mind, and because they're tied to memorable experiences in my life.
Memorable. That's beautiful. Okay, so you have me jealous for two reasons. One, I've never been peach picking before, so that's gonna go on my to-do list. And second, I want to go to Japan so bad. I'm so jealous.
I'm very happy that I did it. No regrets. So I would recommend it to anyone with any wanderlust to take a jump and do it. Don't be afraid.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so let's dive into some questions. All right, so what is the Student Basic Needs Center?
Well, the center itself was derived from the JCCC food pantry, which we've had around for many years. So about a year and a half ago, a decision was made that we wanted to address more than food needs from students who who just have basic needs, for many reasons. So the idea came about to create a place where not only could food be accessed, but also issues such as housing needs, transportation, various other social services. And so the center was created as a hub where a student with any type of issue or need could come and get those issues addressed in one spot by a person, myself, who can coordinate all of that and help research various agencies, contacts, information to fulfill the needs of our students.
Nice. Juliana?
Oh, I feel like, well, I love the Basic Needs Center, especially because I work there too. So me and Steve, we talked a lot already about this, but for someone that's just coming into campus, like a fresh new student, how can I get access to the Student Basic Needs Center?
Okay. Well, there are a number of ways to gain access. Many students, if they go to our website, will find references to our center. And I encourage people just to do a search, type in food pantry, type in assistance, type in basic needs, and you'll come to our webpage. And so the webpage is very thorough. It'll have pretty much everything that we do displayed. So you'll find that information. Now, for those who don't think about the web pages, they will undoubtedly find out about us through personal contact. That might be an instructor, it could be a counselor, it could be the success advocate, it may be admissions. So as we've grown and as the center's been a presence, more and more of the campus community have become aware of it. And so through word of mouth, a lot of our students are getting, are becoming knowledgeable about us and coming in.
Awesome. All right. So who benefits mainly from the Student Basic Needs Center? Is it what kind of students? Is it for everyone?
Mm-hmm. The center can potentially be for anyone because anyone could suddenly need it. And that's become so evident in the last few months here due to the pandemic. You may have a stable job and a stable life one day, and then the next week you don't, and you'll be in need of a food pantry or other services. So this is a place that is open to all and could potentially be needed by all. It's when we talk about the food pantry's mission, it's to provide supplemental food for JCCC students and their families. But we really won't turn anyone down. If someone comes to us and they find that just one day they need a snack, they can come in and we do have paperwork that's filled out in intake form. But just by filling out that form, it does show that you have need, even for that one day. So we're welcome to accommodate that. And I might also mention, we not only provide food in our space, but we have personal care items as well as school supplies.
Awesome. What about, I know that you talked about housing. Is there any other services you do apart from the housing and the food?
Yeah, so
And
personal,
transportation.
yeah, well, basic needs covers quite a lot of territory. So yeah, the largest services that I have provided are in the way of food and housing resources and transportation. But I've worked with students who've had legal issues and needed to get legal advice, students who come in and they need to qualify for childcare and they may not know how to go about that. And so I will work in those areas. Students come in with a need for medical or dental care. And so there are a number of clinics in the community that will do that service for free or low cost. Students have come in with car issues, if they need repairs. So, and I have a database of agencies in the community that I continually do research to try to add to that list. And so there's always something out there that I discover depending on what a student needs. And so I'll take that time to work with them, do a little digging, and hopefully come up with a good way to help them.
So, Steve, you're basically like the God fairy.
Well, I don't know about that. I do what I can.
That's all I'm hearing. Well, I can. That is so good. I truly appreciate that. I'm thankful that you're actually doing that for students in need. And another thing that I remember is that you also assist students who who are in classes and they don't have computers and they want a computer to borrow for like the semester and stuff. So I think that too, I was like, wait, what? In my mind, I labeled the basic needs as just food, clothes, and house supplies. And, I limited what service you did. But then the more I heard, I was like, they called me and they're like, yes, Steve from the student basic needs are giving out, they're loaning students who are going through a rough time, computers. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. So
Yeah,
that's,
I'll be glad to expound upon that if you like.
oh, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so this was born about, well, it was during the spring when the pandemic began and we began locking things down and we converted to online learning. So we discovered that, many students weren't prepared for that change and didn't have laptops at home, and some lacked internet service. And so this idea was created due to the urgency to help students out. So back in April of last year, we began loaning laptops and equipment to students in need. They just simply make that request. And over the months, it's evolved to now we have on our webpage a link where a student can make that request. And so my job is to review the request, check out equipment. And so students are able to check out Wi-Fi hotspots and laptops for the semester in which they are enrolled. And if they continue in subsequent terms, they can hold on to the equipment. We just extend the loan agreement. And that can happen really until the point of graduation. But if they don't need it, then we'll arrange a time for the check-in. And it's we do run out. So it's one of those cases in which if a student does find that they have what they need, if we can get that equipment back, then we can turn around and give it to somebody else in need.
Just
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Love it. I'm sorry, I'm so super excited. Giuliana, do you have any more questions?
Oh no, I'm good. I think we covered everything. Thank you so much, Steve.
Well, actually, one more thing I'd like to
Yeah,
mention.
that's what I was gonna say. If you'd like to say.
Yeah, there's one other service that we didn't really discuss. I would like to make sure people are aware of, which is another invention of the pandemic, which is our Student Assistance Fund. So again, because many have lost jobs, many have come into dire circumstances, we wanted to find a way that we could help students financially. And so this came about because we were awarded a grant from the Greater Kansas City COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund. So the grant allowed us initially to provide gifts to students who were overdue with their housing, their rent payments, who couldn't pay utilities and are facing shop notices. So again, through an application process on our website, they can submit an application. I'll review that, and then we can give them. It's really up to $500 is what we can provide. It all depends on how much a student requires. And so we kind of look at that judiciously and make those decisions. But it's been I think we've helped about 85 students since this has come about. So we want students to know that there is a way to stay in school. You don't have to leave school because of what's happening outside the classroom. That's really why we are here as an office to help. Since our initial grant ran out, the JCCC Foundation has jumped in to help us with some funding, and we do accept donations from the community to help keep this fund going.
Awesome. So if someone is interested in donating funds, how do they go about doing that?
Sure. Well, again, on our website, there's a whole section for the Student Assistance Fund. That's probably the easiest way. You can actually go and donate right on the webpage.
Right on the webpage. Another question. I realize that we didn't talk about this, but this is my first time on campus. I visit and I'm trying to locate the student basic needs. Where do I go?
Sure. Well, our office location is COM 319. And it's a little challenging for some folks if they've never been to this part of the campus. On the webpage, there is a map to help direct folks. But the way I try to describe it is if anyone's familiar with the student lounge, it's right next door to the student lounge. Otherwise, if you are familiar with the CSI, the Center for Student Involvement, and COM 309, it's right down the hall. But I always tell people if they get stuck, just email or call, or even go to the welcome desk in the student center, and they'll be able to help direct you.
Amen. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like I admire this campus a lot because all you have to do on this campus is just look lost. Once you look lost, someone will find you and be like, "Hey, can we assist you? Like, where would you like to go?" So I I I admire that. I
I noticed
enjoy
that too, and just got a little dark in my office, so
that.
probably the motion sensor. It's back on now. Yeah, so I noticed that when I first began working here more than 4 years ago, that I found was a really friendly campus, and people are able and willing and happy to help out. So
I agree. I agree. And for me too, sometimes if someone walks up and they're like, "I'm trying to find the student basic needs," I go, "Okay, let me walk you to there." Because there's just, hopefully, it becomes a little easier to navigate throughout the campus. And I would tell any students that the good thing about it is if you say come, just look at the building. If you say if you see the beginning of the number is 3, 2, or 1, that just states the floor, and just navigate your way through. So it is beautiful.
yeah.
Well, anything else, Steve?
No, I appreciate you allowing me a bit of time to discuss what we do, and we're more than happy to help folks. Any questions can be directed to basicneeds@jccc.edu.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
and
there you have it, guys. That was Steve. Truly appreciate him being here. Yes. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much, Steve. Always, as always, we'll have all the links down in the description as well. So if you're having trouble navigating through the website, we're gonna have those links down below too, just so you guys can check it all out. And yes, get involved, check out all those links, visit the Student Basic Needs Center to just get more information if you want or anything more detailed. Of course, we're gonna have all the contact info there. And yes,
Share the word.
yes,
There is that
share the
too.
word.
Like, you may not be in need, you may not be going through something, but I'm sure you know someone who's doing it. So I do tell everyone to, hey, reach out. Sometimes you don't even know the person is going through something, so you can just say it. Mention it to a classmate, mention it to a friend. Say, hey, did you know JCCC have a basic student need? Just make it a part of the conversation that you may not need it, but someone you know might not need it, but they know someone who needs it. So just make it a part of the conversation.
Yeah, very well stated.
Yes, for sure. And as always, we are at Cavalier Corner on all of our podcast platforms, JCCC Student Life on Instagram and Facebook. Get involved with JCCC. That link will always be down below, always. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Steve,
Right.
for joining us. And thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone, for tuning in.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.